Okay, Dobro jutra, good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Thompson. I am the Cultural Attaché, or the Public Affairs Officer at the American Consulate in Yekaterinburg. Good morning to everyone who's joined us. I see we have some people on from Vkontakte and a few people on from Facebook. And today we just expanded to be live on YouTube. So I hope we have a few people who watch there as well. So if you haven't been here before, this is English you can use. Lesson number 6. And when I say English you can use, it's something you could take today and then go and use it immediately. This is not theoretical. This is not a bunch of rules and grammar. It is information you can use to improve your English. So we're going to talk about articles, the, a, and. We're going to talk about idioms related to music, and we're going to do some movie quotes. And at the end, I also will work a little bit on pronunciation with you. So whether you're an expert speaker or you're just a beginner, I think you can learn something from this. And if you didn't learn anything, please write me a personal email message and say, Matt, I didn't learn anything. And then I will tell you, you're an expert and you don't need to watch this program anymore at all. So let's get started. I hope you can see, I'm using a new software today. I hope you can see the presentation I'm about to show you. If you can't, let me know, okay? And of course, if you're please leave me a comment, say hello. If you have a question, please leave it. I can see them coming up. I think, hopefully you can see this now. Yes, all right. So we're going to work on articles. Articles are super easy in some ways, and then they're also super hard. And I'm going to try to simplify this for you and also show you some exceptions that there is no logic, at least it's subjective logic, and you just need to memorize them. So let's go down here to what is an article. An article is like an adjective. It modifies something, and in English you don't have it in Russian, but in English we have definite articles and indefinite articles. So the is a definite article. So here's an example right there. He lives in the White House. I think when we capitalize White House, we know what we're talking about. The one in Washington, D.C., where the President of the United States lives. There is no other White House. So you need to put the. If it's just a house or just a White House, just any house, then you would use the indefinite article. I live in a house or a White House. Makes sense? Easy, right? So the rules for using a and are fairly straightforward. There's vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. So if it's not one of those, you use a girl, a boat, a tree, a zoo, a cat. Понятно? Очень легко. If it's with an E, an O, or an I, you will often use an. So an ear, an egg, an apple, an idiot. Очень легко, right? Now, there's a few exceptions here. When a vowel sounds different, when a vowel sounds like a consonant, then you have to use a. So here's a few examples. A user, a university, a unicycle. And then there's a few exceptions here. An hour, because hour sounds different. And then you can use a for, the last one was it? I can't see it. A horse, that's right. So a horse has a h sound, so it becomes a instead of an horse. Generally, these should make sense to you, but it takes a little practice. I kind of compare it to Russian when you know certain words are feminine or masculine. And for example, благодарность. Благодарность is a feminine word because it has a мягкий знак. Nost мягкий знак. You know that it's моя благодарность, not мой благодарность. Makes sense to you. These are little things that you just have to get used to. If there's a adjective in between the object that you're trying to modify, then you link the article to the adjective. So, for example, a broken window, b is not a vowel, so it's a broken window. Or an unusual situation, unusual is a, so it's a vowel, so you use an. Here's a tricky one, a European nation. E is a vowel, but it doesn't act with that sound, so a European country. So, super easy. You guys are experts. I don't need to teach anymore, right? Okay, now I'll continue, because there are some exceptions. So, when we're talking about things in the universe or in our lives, if there's only one of them, then you need to just use the. And I'm going to read the comment here I see from Irina just a second. Could you please explain if we should use the before an adjective in the superlative form if it's not followed by a noun, like the best? Give me an example. So there's one moon. There's many moons in the universe, but we really only see one moon, so it's the moon. The stars, because we see stars around us, the universe, and the sun. Of course, if you're talking about a star as a sun, then you can change it. And here are proper nouns. So in general, when you're talking about countries, you do not use articles, except in these ones right here on the screen. So if I say I'm going to Russia, you don't use any the. But you do use it with the United States, the Philippines, the Netherlands, the People's Republic of China, the Dominican Republic, the United Kingdom, and the United Arab Emirates. Curiously, if I said I'm going to, I would say I'm going to UAE. I wouldn't say I'm going to the UAE. In just speech, it can be both. But if you see the whole word, you would say the. And a little fun trivia for you. The only country in the world that has actually formally the in it is the Gambia, I believe. That is in the name. So that's an exception to the rule. And you can see also for oceans, rivers, seas, regions, you use the. So in the United States, I'd say, I have never been to the South before. I wouldn't say I haven't been south. It sounds weird, and I wouldn't know that you're talking about a specific place. Okay. Okay. So maybe I need to move this in a little bit. There are exceptions here. I can't change it actually. But let me change it. Let me see if I can change it here. Let's see here. Hopefully that will help. I don't know if that helps. So the counterintuitive rule to this, and this is where I think Russians or other non-native speakers would have issue with our logic in English, is that we use the for specific places, but not in this case when we're talking about common concepts of places. And it's something you just have to get used to. If you can memorize this list, it's better than just try to fight the logic. So if I'm talking about my day, I would say I'm going to the bank. It's kind of strange to say I'm going to a bank because you'd want to know more about why you're just going to a bank. The bank means that's where I'm going, even though you might not know which bank I'm going to. Another commonly used usage of a concept is the library, a grocery store, the doctor, the dentist, the gas station, the hospital. If you go to Britain, they will say go to hospital. They'll cut the out. We just have a little bit difference there. The beach, the barber, the mountains, so on and so forth. So if it's a concept of a place, use the. Transportation, same thing. There's only one bus. Well, there's many buses in the city, but I'm taking the bus in general. The metro, the subway, the train, the ferry. Here's two examples. Did you take the metro to work today? Let's not get on the bus now. Okay. And I hope it's not cutting off this here, but familiar places and seasons then will get no definite article. So home, I don't go to the home, I go home. I go to school, I don't go to the school. I go to work, I go downtown. I have breakfast, I don't have the breakfast. So take a look at some of these things. They're hard to memorize, I know, but they will help you with to sound more like a native speaker. And you shouldn't add too much confusion if you use the and. It just will sound awkward, that's all. So, I hope that was, let's see here. So easy, right? No, it's hard, but you can get through it. I guarantee if you read a lot or you listen to people how they speak, you will get the hint of how to use the and or a. And if you make mistakes, people will still understand you. Don't worry too much about that. All right, so I'm going to share the screen, and we're going to go through idioms. These are just kind of fun things to know. You don't really have to know them, but they're good to know when you're listening to a reading or you hear people talk about it. So let's go to that's music to my ears. I hope you can see all that. If you hear someone say that's music to my ears, that means it's good news. It's something positive, it's something great, something pleasant. It's a good thing. Music to my ears. Don't forget that one. Second one, toot your own horn. Okay, I'll admit, this one's a little old-fashioned. My grandmother would probably say this. I don't know the last time I would say it. But the funny thing is, sometimes young people can use these phrases ironically in order to make fun of somebody. So it's good to know. So toot your own horn means to brag about yourself or to show off. Example would be, there he goes again, tooting his own horn. He thinks he's such an excellent English speaker. So there's one, toot your own horn. Hope you guys can see all of this. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. That means don't give up. And I had a goal this morning to look up the origin or understand what this phrase comes from. But I didn't, so I apologize. But just know if you see this in a movie or you hear someone say it, hey, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. It means don't give up yet. It's not over. It's not a failure or it's not a success yet. Make sense? Hope so. It ain't over till the fat lady sings. This might be a terrible broadcast, but it ain't over till the fat lady sings because we have more. Okay, it takes two to tango. This is a nice one for pronunciation to practice your alliteration. It takes two to tango. It means when no one is innocent. Both parties are guilty. And this is usually, you can use this when maybe people get in an argument because you don't want to take sides. That person started the fight and then someone say, hey, it takes two to tango. That person said something not nice and they should expect to have that person fight them. So it takes two to tango, because in reality it comes from the tango dance. I don't know how you can tango with 3 people or 1 person. You need 2. I'm going to say hello to everybody. I see Anna. We have a couple people. Anna, Lydia, Ethan, Rosetta, Irina. Lots of people today. Yulia, Roman. Nice to see all of you. Svetlana. Great. Please spread the word if you think other people would like this lesson, because we're going to keep doing them every week, even if 1 person is online. I hope more than 1 is. Okay, face the music. This is our last one. This is a really good one to use. I think it's not old-fashioned, and don't think it's super, super hip for millennials. It's something everybody who's an American speaker knows. Face the music means to admit something or to accept the consequences of something. I have to face the music and go in and tell my boss that I didn't finish my work. It's time to face the music. Another example, the athlete, the basketball player needs to face the music and realize he's just too old to play anymore. So it's when you don't want to, when you have to reconcile something or to accept something. Okay. So now, this was my favorite thing putting together this week. And I really, really need all of you to participate. So I'm going to show a quote from a movie, and I want you as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, to type in the film. And we're going to go from easy films, easy quotes, to more difficult ones. And I want to see if you really know American cinema. I brought this up because movies are referenced a lot in American culture, and if someone uses a quote from a movie, people will automatically know it. And so these are kind of in our cultural consciousness. And it's important that you know them too, because there might be referencing humor or something sad or something important. So let's get started. Again, when you see the quote, quickly write the answer and see how fast you can go. All right, let's start with, "There's no place like home." And I'm going to leave it up for, I'll give you like 20 seconds. I think there's a delay here, so I'm a little bit ahead of you. "There's no place like home." And if there are Americans out there watching, no cheating, you know this. Every American, I have to think a very, very large percentage of Americans know this quote. Even if they haven't seen the movie, they know it. Anybody? I'm not seeing any answers yet. Let me check and see if you guys are on. "Going with the Wind." Nope, that's not correct. Let me check and see if you guys are on. I know, let's see. All right, maybe this is a little harder than I thought for some of you. "There's no place like home." I'm going to show you. It's The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz, one of the most famous films of all time. I think it was 1936, 1937 it came out. It was colorized. It was like the coolest thing. So Dorothy, who you see the woman there in the picture, was Judy Garland. She's the one who said, "There's no place like home, there's no place like home." All right, so let's move on. I thought you would know that. So maybe this will be really hard. "Mama said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." You should know this one. Famous film from the 90s. Mama said, if I can say it with my my southern accent, which will be terrible, it'll be, "Mama said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." That's a terrible accent. I shouldn't even try. So I'm going to give you a few more seconds. Okay. Yes. There we go. Now we got some people. That's right. Right? Excellent. All right. Great job. Great job. It is Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump. Classic American film. I think it won several Oscars. Tom Hanks won an Academy Award for it. He did a fantastic job, and it's well known. All right, good. Forrest Gump. Everybody knows that. Let's go to something a little harder. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Nobody puts baby in a corner. This is a famous film from the 1980s. So if you're young or you didn't watch a lot of movies from the 80s or you haven't yet, this is something that most Americans know, and it's become very popular because the music was so good from it. So I'm going to give you a few more seconds. I'll give you a hint. Patrick Swayze was in it. Home Alone, good guess. Marina's close. It's about dancing. Good job, Marina. Adin Doma, no, that's Home Alone. Good guess. But those are good guesses because there she is. Yes, Anastasia got it. Dirty Dancing. Yes, that's Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze, and it's actually a pretty good film. You should watch it. I definitely go find it somewhere on the internet and watch it. It's got really good music. It's about a young woman who goes up to goes to the summer camp, which was very typical in the 1950s for families to go to these retreats in the mountains up in, I think, the Catskills, somewhere up in New York. And she meets this guy who helps people learn how to dance, and it's quite romantic. Yeah. So the next one is Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. And Dirty Dancing came out in 1987. And I actually got to visit the place where they shot the film, which is not in New York, it is actually in Virginia. All right, Albina is right. Yes, Apollo 13. Close, Gravity's a close guess. Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, so 2 Tom Hanks films here. He's obviously famous in the US and around the world. Apollo 13 was about the astronauts that tried to get to the moon, and they had it was a really scary situation. It's a good movie, I think, if you're interested in space and space travel. And it's I've heard, fairly accurate historically. I'm sure there's some mistakes or things that are dramatized, but it's fairly good. All right. And yes, Marina, this is used all the time. Almost to the point now it's become a cliche. You don't want to use it. So let's go to the next one. This is our last one, I believe. Yeah. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. Again, this quote has been used over and over and over in stories and on broadcasts and on radio. It's from 1986 or 1987. It's from a Yugoslavia film. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they said that. I'll give you a hint. It's Terminator, good guess. I was going to use one of those quotes because Hasta la Vista Baby from Terminator 2 is very popular, and I'll Be Back is even more popular. But if you build it, they will come. It's a beautiful film. Do you have any more guesses? Terminator, no. Wow, she knows her films. She's close. Yeah, she basically got it. Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. Something that you really, you should watch this film with Kevin Costner in the beginning of his career. That's Ray Liotta. who was in a lot of great Scorsese films. And Field of Dreams it has this Americana feeling to it because it's about baseball and it's about the Midwest, Iowa, the state of Iowa, which is right in the middle of the United States. Not many people live there, lots of corn. And the premise of the film is that Kevin Costner is a struggling farmer, and he hears a voice out in the cornfields that say, build it. And then he sees a ghost and it says, build a baseball field. And he decides to build a baseball field so that these ghost players from I think it was the Black Sox from the early 1900s come back, and it's like they're heaven. They're able to play baseball. That's about as much as I'll give away. It's very good. Waiting for the fat lady to sing. Haha, be kind. So, let's move to... So, we've covered a lot. The last thing I want to just give you a little bit of help with is probably the hardest sound to make in the English language, and that's the TH sound. But it's so important because we use it all the time. And you'll be understood if you don't do it perfectly, but sometimes it's really helpful to be able to say it. So, every time you say, my mom is a speech therapist, and so she used to always be very strict with us about how to pronunciate words. So if you have trouble with doing make sure you're sticking your tongue all the way through your teeth, and then blow so there's vibrations. So this is for a hard the sound. And it should tickle your tongue a little bit. And as Ethan says, there is no TH in Russian. No. Probably some other, I think in Spanish there is a little bit. But there's soft thes and hard thes. So obviously the is a hard one. This, that, there. So work on that. There are soft TH sounds, and it's like with. What is another one? Thistle, that's a weed. There's other ones I had. Thin. This is the hardest one probably for non-native speakers to say. It's a soft TH sound. So blow more air through your mouth. Father, oh, thank you, Ethan. Father's a hard one. Mother, brother. So think about getting that tongue out there. I think more in other languages that your tongue is back. But just try to do it intentionally, and it might help. Okay? So I hope this was helpful to you. If you have ideas for topics, let me know. Remember, the, a, and an, there are specific rules you just have to memorize. I know I've had to, in Russian, have to memorize, like, for example, most prepositional endings are like with E. So I can say, yabul, or how do we say? Oh, now I can't think of an example, but lesu, aeroportu. And I would always ask, why lesu? Why not lese? Yabul vlese. And they just say, veliki maguchi, ruski yazik. You just have to know it. So, take care. I hope to see you next week, 11 o'clock, Tuesday. Leave me a comment whether you like this or you didn't like it. If you hated it, tell me. I will take that advice and change things. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.